show at the top of the screen. Yeah, it's live on the YouTube. So hi everyone, namaste. This is Darshan Patel, and we are discussing about the education system, and we are going to get insights from Purvee, who is Harvard graduate in area of education. So we are going to start with Purvee about her story, how she has started, and how she has ended up in Harvard. So Purvee, over to you. If you can just give us insights about your story.
Sure. So right before actually everyone joined, I was talking to Darshan ji about how funny it was that I actually made it to Harvard. So it was during my childhood that I started to teach my housemate's daughter, and I realized that yes, there are gaps. Like I come from a good Indian middle class family. It's going really well. I can understand read English. I can do math really well. But my counterpart, who's maybe as old as I am, working in the same house, cannot. So it started from there, of course, and then there were more students, and it was going decently well until I decided to join engineering, just like any other Indian middle class girl. And I was doing really well in engineering as well, but my heart wasn't there. I realized that, like maybe this is not what I want to do for my life. And in fact, I was doing really well. I was like usually topping my class. I was presenting at different places, and I thought that I will pursue my master's in engineering, but it didn't have to go that way. I got to know about this local NGO, which is called Rang De Zindagi, where I started to teach approximately 60 to 80 girl children math in vernacular language, which was Hindi. And I taught there for 2 years. It was a life-changing experience. And then I started working with Teach for India. I applied there. It's a great fellowship. For 2 years, I was working with primary graders, grades 1, 2, and 3, 60 to 100 kids. And I was teaching basic math and English. And that's when I realized the importance of educational equity and why did I have excellent teachers? Why did I always have those resources and not these kids? In fact, when I had begun, the kids would not even come in their slippers. Like I was teaching in a government school there. So that also like increased my inclination towards being in the education sector. Then again, I joined I joined an edtech program. It's called the Nalanda Project. It's a not-for-profit working to take technology in low-income classrooms, especially in Mumbai, Pune, Delhi. Like these are good urban cities in India. So I was working there as a program manager, training teachers how to teach, and then ultimately Harvard happened. But even so it had to like I wanted to go back into academia. I wanted to learn more, and that's when I came here. But of course, there were these times where I was maybe thinking of pursuing MBA. I was thinking, okay, why not earn more money and just be like everyone else? But of course, like it didn't have to work that way. It didn't.
Okay. So now, as you are in education field and core in academia, where you want to go will be my last question.
Sure.
But in between, I would like to ask that what are the biggest challenges which you have faced while the journey? If you can, give objective answers.
I
1,
think
2, 3. Yeah.
this is a very good question. I haven't thought. Like, one is how the society works. I think that was one of the biggest challenges because they felt that teaching or education is not a field to be in. It's so I think that was the biggest challenge. Actually, that's the only challenge. Apart from that, things have been pretty smooth for me. I've been lucky to have a good support system around
So
me.
do you mean that people or your, surroundings and friends were questioning you that why you want to be in academia?
Yeah. So my closest ones, not like my closest friends and family, but the society overall. And in fact, the place of education in the society itself. That teachers, if you don't become anything, you become a teacher. And you're an engineer. You've done so well. You can earn so much money. Why are you going into the education field? And
Okay.
like coming from a family where my father went to JNU, IIT, my sister went to Columbia, it was just like I was not supposed to be a teacher. And so that also.
And now, after being in Harvard and after graduating from Harvard, if I remember, I have called you the very next day when you have
Yes,
taken your degree. Yeah, you
yes,
told me that
absolutely.
I am, my dinner or my family dinner is planned today or tonight. can we discuss tomorrow? So
Yes,
we
yes.
we have just discussed that. So how it feels like, what Harvard has given you in
Oh my
terms
God,
of.
I can't tell you. It feels very, very empowered. I feel that now I can change the world. Like I feel so capable. And not really because I went to Harvard, but because I now can see those immense possibilities that I didn't yet. Like I've
Mhm,
worked in the education field for over 10 years now, technically, if I start counting from my engineering days. But it's only now I feel that I want to change these mindsets. I want to work there.
mhm.
So like I know that we're going to discuss this later, but
Sure.
that's definitely where I want to be.
So definitely, I think we are 18 or 19, 20 participants are there, or
Hmm.
18 other than you and me. So
Okay,
these are also professionals.
right.
They are also, working as a software engineer, or they are just engineering pass outs.
Hmm.
So do you think an education or being in education can help, like along with their career path? How they can, be in academia?
Of course, there are many ways in which one can contribute, and I always say that start from home. Like that's the one big thing that you can do. Like even if you don't want to be a teacher or a volunteer, start at home. And by that I mean if you're bringing children into this world, just teach them well. That's it. If you start from there, if you just work at home, you're good. But
Mhm,
overall, if you really want to be in this field, then I think focus on, I would say focus on how to teach more than
mhm,
what to teach.
mhm,
Because there is a lot of content. There are so many books. You can pick up this NCRT grade 6 and you can like teach from there. But how do you teach? How are you
mhm.
engaging with children? And are you
Okay.
keeping them at the center?
Yeah. The reason why I have asked this question is, if you may have seen my tagline,
Right.
learning by sharing. Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
to learn, you have to be a teacher first.
Right.
Yeah. So everyone needs to be a teacher. So is there any correlation, or something which has been taught in Harvard on this line, that how things can work, how a learning and sharing can help an individual?
Definitely. I think the focus is always on what does the learner need to learn more than what do you want to teach. Like I might want to teach math, but does or because just because I know geometry, I want to teach that. But does the child need that right now, or is there something else that the child needs? So that is one very very big learning. The other is unlearning. So there are so many things that I already know, but but how do I take those conceptions out, like, and throw them out of the window and still be open to learning? I think that's another big thing that they've taught us at Harvard, and which is why, and that's what you share. I think,
Mhm.
and it's
So
also not about the breadth कि आप कितने लोगों को पढ़ा रहे हो. आप एक
mm,
इंसान को पढ़ा. Just teach one child, but teach them well.
mm, great. Can you give insight about unlearning? What exactly is that?
um, I don't know how do I define that, but there are so many things that, for example, one of the biggest learnings that I had was when I was a teacher. Actually, I'll go back in time, and I asked a child that, like, what do you want to become? She was like 5 years old, and she said, I want to become a watchman. And I felt, oh my God, I've taught you for a year, and now you want to become a watchman. Why do you say so? And that's what was going on my head. But I didn't say that, of course, to that child. And then I realized, oh, like maybe the background she comes from, like her father is a watchman. And if I say that don't become a watchman, I'm going to put her father down. I'm going to like break her dreams. And it is okay to be whatever you want to be. And that is a kind of unlearning that I had, because as a child, I was taught that you have to be a CEO. You cannot be
Wow.
anything else. So,
Perfect.
yeah, that was like, so just
Amazing.
changing those notions, throwing them
Mhm,
out of the window that everything is okay. That
mhm.
was a big
Yeah, so
part of
it's even biggest unlearning for me also. Like,
that. Yeah,
should not expect anyone to have your own views.
right.
Okay, perfect. So can you advise, is it okay to have breaks during your education? Because I can see you had, a couple of years of breaks in between, you have resumed your education once again. Many people
Right.
try to, yeah, take it at a stretch.
Right. So I had a break in my education, especially after my BTech to my master's, and that was like I was working all during that time. And like, I was discussing this with a very good friend of mine that I wish that after school there were 2 to 3 years of apprenticeship or some kind of internship, that you go out and venture the world. You don't do your bachelor's yet. You see what you really want to do, and then you pick your field, and then you do your bachelor's in that. And why I said so is because, like, say for example, me, I picked up engineering just because like that was the norm at that point in time. But if that seat was given to another girl child because it was a like, it
Quota.
wasn't too expensive, right? Like that child and that child really wanted to be an engineer, would have really helped them. That's one example. But I think like giving that time for people to try out instead of maybe trying out later, which is also fine. Like, everything is fine in the world. But I wish that there was a provision where people can take a break, and drop year is not like, it's such a big thing in India that you cannot take a drop. I don't agree. I think if you think that you need some time to figure
Hmm.
out, do that.
Hmm.
So I think it's
Okay.
absolutely okay.
But in India, I think that's not the thing. I have tried to invite many parents, but
Mhm.
parent never encourage that.
Exactly.
It's like a crime for the parents that you cannot drop even between 12th and your first year of engineering. It's
Right.
it's absolutely, you are a dumbo, or you are, doing what you can say, wasting your time. You will lose a lot of money. They calculate like, if you lose 1 year between your engineering and this, you will end up losing your retirement benefits. We just
Yeah,
think,
which is like, what are you
yeah,
saying? Yeah.
yeah, we just think that, your provident fund, which is going to come as a 25 lakh rupees, which will come 24 lakh rupees because you are losing 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It doesn't
they
make
are
sense
not
to me.
thinking. Yeah, they are not thinking that your salary will become, instead of 5 lakhs, it will become 15 lakhs per year. Yeah, so you can recover all the money, and even over and above, you can have that happiness of life,
Mm-hmm.
that you are going
Absolutely.
to enjoy. Yeah. uh,
Yeah.
the further question is about, who were the important person being part of your journey, who all has contributed.
There are so many people. One of them is, I think, on the call, which is my mother, of course. Like, I
Mhm,
think,
mhm,
and my father, for having that forever belief that she will do it. Like, she will figure it out. Like,
mhm,
my father was absolutely unhappy with me picking up this field at the beginning. And my mother was like, yeah, she'll do it. Like, let her do it. Of course, my siblings, and they have always been super supportive. A lot of my friends, my husband. And then I think these so many children and teachers have come into my life, like right from my childhood. I can always take this name of Mr. Pawar. I was in grade 6 when he said,
mhm,
Purvi, do you want to anchor this show? I was in grade 6. I was 11 years old. I was standing in front of the stage of like almost 5,000 to 6,000 people, and I was anchoring the show. Imagine the amount of confidence I had got at that point in time, and
mhm,
how it has built over the years. So
mhm,
those little instances that I can never forget. Or the student that I was talking about who wanted to become a watchman. I'm so grateful to her for telling
mhm,
me that life is so much more than what you think.
mhm,
So there are so many people I cannot stop thanking.
mhm. And how is, the role of Rangde Zindagi and other institutions where you have worked?
Sure. I think Rang De Zindagi definitely was the stepping stone, that I could see, I could feel how the education sector looked like. Teach for India made me believe that so much is possible and so much is needed. So definitely, I think Teach for India, again, a very, very big game changer. I'm so grateful to them. Then came Nalanda Project. That was an edtech organization, a little ahead of its time when it had actually begun a couple of years ago, working with teachers and seeing the role that like even technology can bring such a big part,
Mhm,
in education can be such a big part, was also phenomenal. So I think all of these have really helped me, and I've luckily not had any bad experiences with managers, or like like people, like even
mhm,
my managers have been so supportive all the time.
mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was thinking several of the questions to be asked, but before that, I think we have questions on screen. So let me just go through these two questions. First is
Sure.
from Jash Walaki, one of my good friend, and his question is, how did you get entry into Harvard?
Right.
Did you
So
clear any entrance exams, and how you got scholarship?
it was quite a riot. So of course I wrote my GRE. I did pretty well on that, and I also wrote my TOEFL because that's an exam that you need to give to enter. I did pretty well on that as well. And then Harvard has a lot of applications. It's a big, like you have to write an essay and then you have to submit letter of recommendations. So that entire process, it also like I spent a lot of time writing why I want to be at Harvard. And then scholarships follow a similar cycle as well. So like when I applied to Tata, They also have multiple rounds. So you submit an application, you submit your transcripts, how well did you do before, again, your statement of purpose, and exam results and your admit cards. And then they also interview, and they also have a round of test. So I went through multiple rounds. I think I would have started my journey around late September, or like even September to start studying for GRE. I gave it in October, and until June, or in fact until August, I was appearing for my scholarship exams and scholarship tests. It's quite a journey, and with breaks in between. But yeah, you have to be at it.
So September, which year?
Uh,
18
to
or?
18.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Would like to have a specific, means first I want to tell a joke.
Yes.
Here in Mexico, one, placement officer came from Stanford,
Mm-hmm.
and they were discussing about, one point about SOP, statement of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And she told that I've been a placement officer in India, and out of 190 SOPs, we were throwing in the dustbin,
Mm-hmm.
because we knew in India there are agencies, those who write SOPs on behalf of students.
Right.
And
Right.
my daughter, highly felt offended because she has given an example of India.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the ground reality that's
Mm-hmm.
happening. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how you have written, what is, kind of content you have created, and what it takes to create an SOP.
So it was actually writing my SOP was a process of almost 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
November, December, and January. I initially started by, like, of course, SOP is not writing physically, you'll do it later. But even when you're writing a GRE, you should have a purpose. That why are you even writing this exam? Why do you want to be at Harvard? Like, if you don't have that why, your statement of purpose is going to be again in the dustbin. Whoever writes it, like the company writes it, you write it, whoever writes it. So one,
Correct.
you have to have a purpose right from the beginning, and that's something that I think I had clarity on. And then the statement of purpose is never your resume. You're not writing your essay by detailing, okay, I raised $20,000 for my classroom. That's not how you write it. And why did you do that? That nobody cares. You submit a resume anyway, so they look at that. So statement of purpose is more about finding the top three reasons why do you want to be at this institute, and maybe finding your, like, connecting your past experiences with that and putting it down. Howard's recipe is, I think, 1,500 words. So it's actually like 5 pages long. It's really big. So of course, like, even if an agency writes it, they will not write it for you. So I am never a big proponent of taking an agency. I did not at all, for neither my preparation of GRE, for nothing. Like, I did everything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So that also made some difference.
Yes. And are you aware, or have you came across from your friend circle that there are certain softwares which identifies this, that there is a pattern in these SOPs, or that?
Um, I haven't, like, at least in the education, like, at least at my school, it won't, like, nobody will take them in.
Mhm,
But like in technology institutes, I have heard that like there are similar pattern SOPs that go in.
mhm.
So I have heard of it, but I am not sure.
Okay.
So.
There are pattern identifiers. If a particular SOP is placed into it, it identifies that these 80% is just like a algorithm. Uh, they,
Mm-hmm.
they can identify easily that this person might have picked and choose from somewhere, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't look much of original. Then they have a choice out of
Mm-hmm.
remaining 20% which to choose. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's move to the second question. I think uh, Harshita says, did did you ever felt like that you are investing in something which lead to nothing? What did you do to cope up with that and stay motivated?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Harshit. So, one, did I ever feel like investing in something which would lead to nothing? Yes, that was my GMAT exam. And I did invest a lot of time. I would not say a lot of money, but sure, a lot of time on it. And I felt that I somehow knew that it would lead me back to this education system. Uh, but yeah, and what did you do to cope up with that? I couldn't actually cope up with that. When I
Mhm.
invested in something that I knew that would maybe possibly lead to nothing, I couldn't cope up. I got jaundice and I wasn't motivated. So, but that's one big experience that I have. But I can't like right now on top of my mind think of any. But I can connect with you and I can drop you a message if I come across.
Perfect. Little on a personal level, like
Mm-hmm.
how much percentage, in a percentage, if you can say, we get a scholarship, or what are the various criterias?
Sure. So I got scholarship from Tata, Godrej, and Harvard itself. So they gave me some, and I think it was 60% of my tuition fees.
Okay,
But then
that's
but people get 100% also.
also.
Like I did not qualify for the 100% scholarship,
Mhm.
but there are people who get it.
Okay. On the same platform, I would like to build one more question.
Hmm.
Is this scholarship comes from corporates? That is quite understandable. But how the institute itself gives a scholarship,
So
like
when
Harvard itself?
Right. So when you apply, in the like when I was saying that it's a long process, there is a specific essay that you can write for for the scholarship from the institute itself. So it's inbuilt in the application system. So you don't have to do anything extra. So when you're applying, you write it there.
Okay.
Like
And
that was
are
in
there
my
any
case. I'm
categories?
sorry.
Are there any categories, like,
Um,
especially for girls, or especially for this kind of background, or
I, I I doubt. Definitely, I think some of these are need-based scholarships, and some of them
Mhm,
are merit-based scholarships. So
mhm,
I would say that my Tata and Godrej scholarships are both merit-based.
mhm,
Like I didn't again qualify for the need-based scholarships, like
scholarship?
in terms of financial needs. Yes.
Okay. Now, being over there, in connect with the people from other elite institutes, also, other institutes from
Mm-hmm.
US, as well as, other reputed institutes throughout the world. What's
Mm-hmm.
your opinion like? Does it make sky and the earth difference between Harvard and, any small institutions in US or in India?
Um, I mean, I haven't really seen how, and I haven't even heard much about how the other institutes might feel
Hmm.
like what would happen in there. But being at Harvard, like coming from India, definitely made the world of a difference for me.
Hmm.
Listening to what other people were saying, their diverse perspectives, and how they're all respected for what they're saying. They never
Hmm.
question, "Oh, why did you say so?" "Ye kyun bol rahe ho?" It's never like that. They always respect what you're saying, and
Hmm.
they push your thinking. Like they'd say, "Do you want to think more? Do you want to explain more?" And so it's very. And how did you come up with that? So the kind of
Hmm.
questions that we ask and the kind of interactions that we have, because everybody at Harvard is more intelligent than you are. Like that's
Hmm.
the reality. So you think that,
That's
oh
true.
yes, I am going with the Tata scholarship. No, like there
Hmm.
are people who've come with Fulbright scholarship, but like with other kind of stuff, and they've done
Agree.
so much work.
Work.
There is
Hmm.
always so much to learn from them, and
Correct.
that definitely makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, basically it's like a collection of, the best from the world. So
Mm-hmm.
you get a chance to discuss with the best. Yeah. So
Right.
and I have asked that question deliberately, that how our, educational institutes in India are treating our students, uh, by providing a limited opportunities, or even our students themselves are not connected with the world, because these days the world is open to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am interacting with you, the 20 people here are interacting with Harvard Graduate. Anyone can interact with an intellect using a social media platform. But our kids, our this generation, the millennials, are choosing not to do that. Rather, they
Mm-hmm.
are choosing to be on Facebook, Insta, or they, want to misuse the social media than to better use it. Okay.
Yeah.
On the similar line, we have a question from Ricardo. He's one good friend from Mexico. He says that, what do you think about the trend among millennials of thinking grades and degrees do not matter, or are not worthy anymore? So are millennials right or wrong?
Given that I'm a millennial, also, I think it is 200% correct. I would say, and I wish I knew about it when I was a child, that grades and degrees do not matter. And they should not matter. And the kind of experiences that I want to create as well moving in the future should not focus on that. And Ricardo, I think it's a great question. And yeah, they do not matter.
But if they like a counter question to it now, then
Hmm.
suppose you don't had an appropriate grades and all that, there what was the chance of you ending up in doing this PG in Harvard?
Sure. You know what? Like at Harvard, I had friends who were also chefs and
Okay.
hadn't done anything in education. And they just wanted to be better chefs, like be able to teach their staff how to cook better.
Hmm.
So, I can definitely speak for my school that scores did not really matter too much, or
Okay.
where you had come from really did not matter, as long as your statement of purpose, why do you want to be where you want to be, mattered. And which is why it makes the world of a difference, that you really want to focus on that. Like we were also talking about how, like, provident fund that we were talking about, that money matters. I am pretty sure that the Gurukul system, when it was made, didn't think about how much money would you make from this education. What would you do? Learning for the sake of learning is not happening. Learning to earn more money is happening, to get better, to go up the socio-economic ladder. And I think just the investment in the idea of learning is missing. And I
Hmm.
wish that was better. Which is why I say that grades and degrees do not matter, as long as you're learning the content, not even learning the content, you're imbibing it, like you're getting more
You are
knowledge,
living. You are
you're
living the
living it.
values.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, like that.
Okay. Perfect. So I think now taking it further to the next level,
Mm-hmm.
your education is over. What
Mm-hmm.
is next now? What is your plan?
Exactly what I was talking about. In fact, I want to focus on how to teach. I
Hmm.
think there's a lot of content out there. People have developed some brilliant applications and done a lot of technology work with some which is great. But I think, how do I use the immense amount of content as a teacher, and best do it? The couple of similar problems. Teacher motivation is a problem, and I think that is where I want to work on specifically.
Hmm. Okay. So the immediate goal, like once you take enough rest for 2 3 months, you start applying for a job, or you want to start something your own.
So currently, in fact, I am working on my own already. So I'm working with I'm working on two projects with two of my very good friends, like with three of my very good friends. One of which is on how do we take computational thinking, and like build on that, but it's not the technical, like it's not the usual. You take it to a classroom, you tell the teacher how to use computational thinking and do different kind of coding and take it, pop it out. So that's something that we are ideating, and it's great. It's going really well. And the other is this idea of deeper learning. How can you best create relevance out of what you're learning? Like, why are we even doing trigonometry? Why are we even doing addition? Just because it's in the book, So having like those deeper conversations with teachers. These are the two projects I'm already working on. And I'm hoping to work in the field of STEM and robotics for middle school, elementary school learners. The entire idea is thinking how to think.
Hmm.
The idea is not getting better grades. So,
Hmm.
and luckily, like US has those good opportunities, and India also has. Like
Hmm.
India is also doing really well on
Hmm.
that front.
Yeah. Post corona effect, let me just ask you one question about this. We
Mm-hmm.
have seen a lot of transformation in education,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely I can see like the attendance is low, uh, just 22, and it's even considered as a high as 22 because so many webinars, seminars and sessions are happening at the same time in India. People
Mm-hmm.
are learning a lot these days,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
learning diverse fields. So
Mm-hmm.
do you have any views, or have you observed that what is happening during this time, or your views?
Yes, I think there are many views that I have. One, because my degree was in technology in education, but I'm going to focus on two. One is that, of course, there are many webinars happening. It is transformational, but is it truly transformational? I think that the kids are coming, but they're not learning anything because it has just suddenly become online learning ki jagah, it's online schooling. It's the same, it's not learning. the teacher will come, what she was doing on the board in the school is what she's doing on Zoom. But are the children really learning? We don't know. So that's a question that I have. And I also see that there are immense possibilities of asynchronous learning. There are many applications the children can learn on their own, which is great. But I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done on the synchronous learning, the live, like how you and I are talking. Are children talking like this to a teacher? I dare you not. Not in any
Yes.
school in the world are they doing
Mhm,
this kind of conversation.
mhm.
And I wish it was better there. So I think
Correct.
it's going well, but
Mhm,
there's a lot more scope and a
mhm.
lot more needs to be done.
True. Purvi, at this point, probably I want to do a salesmanship for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I have started something called collaborative learning,
Mm-hmm.
wherein we are connecting 15, 20 people, which is manageable bulk,
Mm-hmm.
where it people comes together and do the brainstorming, idea exchange on a topic which is relevant in these days.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing those idea exchange, it's not a classroom, neither it's a webinar, but it's a pure use of technology for education. So
Mm-hmm.
do you think it's something which is in your radar, or which you came across during uh, these educational sessions, or your curriculum,
Yes, of
something
course.
collaborative learning?
Yes, yes. Collaborative learning is always great. So there are three things that I'm focusing on in online. One is effectiveness. The second is meaning. The third is engagement. These
Mhm.
are three top values for me. And within engagement definitely comes collaboration. Like, are you, and even meaning. So collaboration actually fits in everywhere. But the big buckets, like, are you able to draw meaning out of this conversation or out of this like of the 22 participants? I hope they take something in. Maybe like for some people it's not, like, so it can go flip side, it can be anywhere, but these are the three things of course I'm focusing on.
Okay, perfect. Then I think probably most of the exchange or idea exchange which we have done may have given a value to our audience. Now comes a core question and answer time.
Hmm.
I'll take some of the questions written by them, and we will give them even a chance to speak.
Sure.
They can come on screen. So those who have questions, I think they can put that they want to directly ask. They can put yes. I will give them chance also to unmute the mic and speak directly once we are done with the question. So we have a question from Venkatesh, that in India, students does not have liberty to switch subjects or in the degree program as in the West. What is your opinion? Switching the
Yes,
subjects.
absolutely. I wish it was so much better. I think that's something that am I audible, Darshanji?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay, okay. So yes, definitely I think it needs to get better. And I agree, Venkat. Like, I think there's not so much liberty. Like, here, I could make my own program. Like, I had in 2 semesters, all the subjects that I picked were like, that was something that I wanted to study. But it also has a flip side that many people don't know which subjects to pick, and it can become a khichdi. Like, it can be an amalgamation that you didn't expect. So it can go either way. But I wish that if it was my personal opinion, I would say that there should be more liberty.
Perfect. We have a last question from Venkatesh, and then if anyone would like to ask the question, I think they can write yes in the chat box so that I can speak the name, introduce, and then he can ask the question. Venkatesh asked, uh, "Is Harvard teach you about financial independence, knowledge directly and indirectly?"
So, uh, no, like nobody has been able to teach me financial independence, and I wish I learned about it. But no, like Harvard does not. The program that I picked, I did not seek that, which is why I did not learn that.
Mhm. Okay, I think Monu wants to ask a question. So uh, I think Monu is Dheeraj. Yeah, hi Dheeraj. He is my very
Yeah, hi,
best friend.
yes.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi,
Darshanji, how
Dheeraj.
are you? Hi,
Uh,
Purvi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, all well, Purvi. Hi, everyone.
Yes, Dheeraj, go ahead.
Correct. So, hi, Purvi. It's really nice hearing your experiences with Howard. So, I have one question. That do you think? So, which student has more chance of getting into Howard? Harvard, a student who has scored more grades, or a student like me who has done correspondence studies but has done a job along with their studies?
Uh, I couldn't hear the second part, Dinesh. You said, Dheeraj, sorry. You said first is who has a lot of academic experience, and the second is?
Yeah. So a student who has scored good grades
Mm-hmm.
in his educational qualification, or a student like me who has very less marks in studies uh, and has done correspondence studies but has done part-time job along with other working with NGO, Toastmasters, and other stuff.
Right. Depends on the kind of courses that you're picking and the kind of technical expertise they require. So maybe certain programs, like I was in the education department. So I think the most that they definitely valued was the purpose. Like, why do I want to be in the field of education? That's what they valued the most. So the SOP mattered more. Academic qualifications did not as much. But
All right.
business school and technical school, like the
Yes.
technology school, they're
Engineering.
very engineering school, they're very competitive in that nature. So they sometimes definitely look for a good academic. Like that's something that they look for, but that's not the only thing that they look for. So
Oh,
it's a mixed answer, and like great institutes definitely value great candidates. So always remember that. I think, yeah.
all right. Okay.
Okay.
And Purvi, at the age of 39, like me, so can someone get into Harvard, or is there an age limit for the courses?
And there's no age limit. You can get in
All right.
anytime.
All right. Thank you,
Yeah,
Purvi.
of course.
Great. Hope, Dheeraj, we see you over there and we have a privilege. And
Yes.
even if no, not Harvard, any of elite institutes. Yeah. Put your
Yes,
efforts. We are there with
definitely.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Darshan.
Yeah. Venkatesh, you can go next, probably.
Hello.
Yes, Venkatesh.
Yeah. Hi, Darshan. Hi, Purvi.
Hi,
How are you
Venkatesh.
both doing?
Good.
Yeah, fine. So, like, on during these days of pandemic, we see all the institutes, schools as well as colleges shut down, and we are uncertain when they are going to reopen,
Mm-hmm.
and we are not sure whether it's going to be online classes forever.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, you said three limitations: engaging the students, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't know whether they will be really learning, and
Mm-hmm.
who are attending the classes or who is not going to attend the classes. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you foresee this uncertainty? Because uh, even if institutes are going to be opened, they need to maintain social distancing at least 3 to 6 feet. So given that in one bench only one student can be seated, and the class strength will be, say if the class had a strength of 60, it would be only 20. They
Mm-hmm.
can accommodate only 20 now at this given point. So the
Mm-hmm.
rest 40 cannot be accommodated.
Mm-hmm.
So how this is going to be handled? Any idea?
Um, so one is because like nobody had ever imagined that this is going to happen, which is
Yeah.
why the preparedness was a little low.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that is one of the major reasons why like these questions, like even I also have similar
Yeah.
questions that how would it
I
happen?
think, Purvi, let me take a privilege of answering this.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah.
the
Okay.
answer will not come from Harvard. The answer should come from India. Yeah.
Okay.
That the parents, they have to switch off the Netflix, YouTube, and all other things. They should,
Yeah.
focus out of the WhatsApp and focus more on their kids.
Yeah.
They have to be a teacher. They have to be educated properly and,
Yeah.
learn themselves to teach their kids. Nobody will come
Yeah.
and be a teacher these days.
Yeah.
The primarily it's the responsibility of parents. And if the
Okay.
parents doesn't want to teach, then let the students come, as a raw material itself, and they will be struggling. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I understand,
no.
Darshan. Like, yeah, I understand, Darshan. Like, the thing is, like, in country like India,
Uh-huh.
the internet reachability is very poor. Like, for example, there are underprivileged
No, yes, agree.
students
Venkatesh,
who are
for
studying in
underprivileged,
government schools as well.
mhm, underprivileged also, there are like organizations who are, who can think, and the people like you and me can think, but that
Yeah.
cannot be taught in a session like this. We can have a separate session, or if
Okay. Okay.
Venkatesh starts
Yeah.
something,
Okay.
I will be the first supporter of Venkatesh. Just believe me.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
No
So
problem.
you
Sure.
start
Sure.
something and we will, जहां से वेंकटेश खड़े होंगे ना, उसके पीछे क्यू चालू हो जाएगी. जैसे मैंने कुछ चालू किया है,
Sure.
तो या you will definitely get support. Start something with an intention which is good for the
Okay.
community. You will get support.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, ji.
Yeah, Darshan. Thank you.
Harsh says, thank you, Darshan and Purvi, for this session. Very useful and information. Thanks a lot, Harsh. So probably we have next 12 minutes left. We can, still extend this session talking about various possibilities, or I can talk my heart about what I have gained out of, Purvi's knowledge, and can summarize this and can put a vote of thanks. Or even I would like the same privilege to Nestor, or if Beatrice is there, or anyone like Manoranjan can do vote of thanks today. So let me summarize. If no one has, someone has a question. Manoranjan himself has a question. Manoranjan, you can ask, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and hi, Purvi. So I have a
Hello.
question. Yeah, I have a question. Like, suppose I'm seeing many people they're posting, or many links are there where they are saying Harvard you can do a free education also. So is it so? First, second question is, if I will do, does that having a worth? So these two questions I have.
Yeah, of course. So one is that if you really think that learning is going to help you in any way, and that means like specifically in getting better at your job, then I would definitely suggest, like one should learn as much as they want to learn till whenever they want to learn. My father is 60 years old and he sits with his books every evening, even now. So, like wherever knowledge comes from, I think one should gain it. And does it have worth? Yes. Like if you think that it's going to help you in any way, it will have a worth.
And it is absolutely free, right? Harvard free course.
Some of these are, yes, like on edX, like it's on their own platform. A lot of courses are free for now.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
of
your.
course, of
Thanks.
course.
Only the last thing is, if you want to have a certification for that, it costs you $50 to $70. But I don't know, what to do with certifications. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. So Manohar, be prepared to say vote of thanks. Today is your
Okay.
turn. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Darshanji, there was a question by Ashish at the beginning. May I think
Yeah, sure. I think I may have missed it. Yes.
Yeah, it's called Are We Restricting the Zone of Learning and Possibilities by Pushing a Newborn Baby into an Education System which has a list of predefined subjects? A question that has been a matter of discussion amongst our friend circle. That's a very good question. And I can, like, this newborn baby is also coming into this climate, like in this environment, which is going by a lot of climate change. The new child is also coming into this corrupt world. And the new child is also coming into, like there are so many things that we need to change in this world of corona. Like there's a pandemic. So ultimately, is it up to only education that there are predefined subjects and do I want a baby or not, or is it up to us? And also the education system, I think Darshanji rightly pointed it out that parents do have a big role to play in a child's education, and they can they envision something for themselves, like by themselves, and what is their role? Is it only the school's role at the end of the day? So it's a very good question, Ashish, and I think these discussions should continue in your friend circle. And also I think leading by change, I think that's something that Darshanji always talks about. I think changing a little bit every day on us would also be helpful.
Mhm. Yeah. So thanks, Purvi. I think we have last 8 minutes remaining. Very insightful session.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we have thought that definitely the parents and our members will get benefit of it. This is not just one session and it gets over. This is a recorded session and will be benefiting to many those who have interest in the area of education.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to prepare a transcript out of it also, and we will be publicizing this on LinkedIn. So those whoever has an interest and would like to take an active part in this definitely will be benefited. I think the microphone is on for some of, yeah. So if you can switch off the microphone, I think that will help. So this phenomena which we have started to provide a collaborative learning platform, to have a collaboration from those who are learned, those who want to share their knowledge. We are bringing them every Saturday. We are exchanging ideas with them, and we are creating something which is a collective knowledge base which can help others. Even we have started with a daily session now for 15 people, those who are discussing those ideas about various spectrum for 10 days. So it's a 10 hours of session, and we would like to tell them that you are in India, but you can definitely see what is happening in the world, what is happening in the elite institutes. They come together, sit in the canteen or sit in the cafeteria and discuss various topics, do arguments, do talk with each other on the Slack and exchange the ideas. Why can't you do the same? We have also established our own Slack. In the corporate world it's available, but in our schools it is not, in our colleges it is not. So we have created our own knowledge exchange program. The adaptation is still small, or it is growing gradually. It's not just like the elite institutions of US, where the technology is the norm. Here it is, the adoption is still gradual. Like in US, even a person from botany or from agriculture background will be also using the IT up to the max, will be using 3D printers every day because there are 20 3D printers available in his lab. While here, even a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer may not have seen a 3D printer. So this kind of gap is there. We want to bridge that gap by showing them at least what is possible with the limited means we have in India or even in Mexico or anywhere. We just want to give exposure to the knowledge that the possibilities are there. If we don't have a mean, it doesn't mean that we have to complain. The complaint is not a solution of anything. The solution is to find a solution, to work together, to collaborate, to exchange ideas with those who are having those privileges. So the platform of Circle of Legend is working for that, and we will continue working irrespective of whatever struggles we have to go through. Fortunately, this is our 18th session, and we haven't got any big challenge or any challenge in not organizing the session for the particular weekend. Without any break, we have organized this, and we are very happy that we will able to continue this session without any problem or trouble. With the help of those who are joining, initially we have started with 6. In between, we have reached up to 60. And now, because of competition between me and other webinar holders, the number has gone low little bit, but it's not a problem. Knowledge is the forte of everyone. So let everyone enjoy the knowledge from wherever it comes. We are keeping it recorded and available. So number doesn't matter, but the involvement of those who are becoming part of this, that does matter. So everyone, those who are part of this, are brand ambassador. I would like to request Purvi to say something, and then Manoranjan will say vote of thanks.
Of course, this was such a good session, Darshanji, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences. And I hope, I learned a lot from talking to you. And if there are any other questions, feel free to drop me a message on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to respond. And if there are further questions, I'd also be happy to chat. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Purvi. Thanks, and wish you all the best from my side. And now Manoranjan will wish from on behalf of the group. Manoranjan, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Darshan bhai. And it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. So thanks to you. And on behalf of Circle of Legends, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all people who joined here. And I especially thank to Purvi for sharing all the details, like every parent wants, their child should be in Harvard, and she has given in a very detailed way, like how to do that. I mean, how to be there. And it's really nice. So a lot of informations we got from Purvee. And even those who are already half of their age they crossed and they want to study also, that also Purvee suggested in a better way, that how they will get into that. What, I mean, many free educations are also there, some are paid also, but learning never ends. So it's really a very nice section, and I think everybody enjoyed that. And this session was not possible with all the audience who are here, and I'm really thanks to everyone for joining the team. And